Hello friends. So we have already installed JDK 11, Maven and IntelliJ. So now let's create our first Maven project on IntelliJ. So launch IntelliJ from the shortcut or whatever you have installed previously. So I have already this one of my previous project open. So go to File, then New, and then Project. Now you have to choose Maven project here, not Gradle, because we are building the project on Maven. Now choose the JDK 11 version from the drop down here. So I have installed the JDK 11 version here. So I just choose that in my project SDK. I don't need to use any archetype for now. And then I will click on next. And then you have to give the project name. So I will just mark it as, say, Java Serialization. And we can also give a group ID. I mean, we can leave it as it is, but let's make it Backstreet Grammar. Okay. Let's check again. Name Java Serialization is the name of the project. We are putting it into a downloads location. Artifact ID is this. Version is this. Version we have kept as default. And the group ID is this. Okay. And then we click on Finish button. So we will have our basic Maven project created here. So first of all, let us refine this pom.xml. This pom.xml is the build file for Maven projects. So let's start refining this, because we would be using Mockito and JUnit frameworks for our testing. So let's start doing it. So we can see that the automatically compiler is generated here as 11 because we chose the JDK 11. So let me make it a little bigger. Okay, and I will just create some space here. Now, first of all, I will use Java version as, better to mention a Java version, choose as 11. And here I will use it as a variable. So it's autocomplete. And similarly, I will do it for the source and target. We have already marked it as 11. Also, I will like to do the encoding of, the character encoding of UTF-8. So for that, I will use project.build.source encoding, and that I will mark as UTF-8. Okay, so project.build.source encoding. And similarly, for the output encoding also, I will use UTF-8 output encoding. Okay, and now we have to use the JUnit and Mockito versions, right? So I will define it as in a property, and just using this like variable form, I will use it in the dependency directly. So let me create maybe the property. So this properties is just like creating a variable name in like a class. It's very analogous to that. So platform dot version. Okay. So JUnit platform dot version. I'm going to use 5.7.0 because the tutorials that I created is working fine with this version. So I will choose to use this. And similarly for Mockito version, Mockito.version, it should be 2.23.0. So these two versions are working fine. Now let's start adding our dependencies. So there's a shortcut key for that. I will just use Alt Insert. I'm using the presentation plugin. So whatever the shortcut keys I will be applying, that would be coming here as a as a caption here. So for example, if I Alt Insert, you can see generate is coming here as this. So you can see that what I'm typing, the shortcut keys. So for dependency, as I press Alt Insert, I got this dependency. So I will add dependency here. Now this is a very good feature where I can actually search for a particular dependency which I want to download in this pom.xml. So let's start with JUnit, right? Because we are going to use JUnit. And here you will see that we are using JUnit 5 version. So that's why, first of all, we need to have this version. Okay, and I will use 5.7.0 because this is what I used. Oh, okay, because I used it at the top, so it has moved here. So I will put it here now. Okay, and 5.7.0 we have already used it here, so we can also directly use the in a variable format like this. So I will copy this here and JUnit platform version like this. So I will just copy this. Okay. Not showing that because it will try to, if I do a refresh button here, then it will load this change. As you can see that now it is downloaded here, this version. And also I will put the scope as test. Okay, so we are done with this dependency. Now let's add other dependencies that are required. So again, I will press Alt Insert, dependency, and then I will use JUnit, and then it will appear. Now I need to get params, this one. And again, I can use this format. So I'll just copy this here. Okay, now let's add the third dependency, which is Jupyter engine. Alt insert again, dependency, JUnit. This is the one. And okay. So the usage of this variable format that I'm using here, whenever we want to change it to the higher version, we can just change it here, just like we do for the variables in a class. We can, if I want to have a higher version, I can just type 5.9.0. And in that case, we don't have to change for all the dependents one by one. So this is the benefit. That's why I put it here. Okay, so we have got all these three Jupyter JUnit dependencies upgraded here. So let me put on refresh again. So it will be appearing all here. And meanwhile, I will also try to get asserts J core and Hamcrest library, followed with Mockito core and Mockito JUnit Jupyter. Let me do it quickly in a similar way. So I have just inserted the dependencies for asserts J core for version 3.11.1 and similarly for Hamcrest library 1.3, which is again having a scope of test. Now let's do it for Mockito. Now I have also downloaded the Mockito core dependency with the version that we have defined in the properties and Mockito JUnit Jupyter artifact ID as well. And the version is same as what we have defined here as 2.23.0. So now we have downloaded all the necessary dependencies as we need, all our JUnit testing framework and Mockito. And let me refresh it again. So it will show me here. So we have got all these dependencies downloaded here. Now the most important thing is that now we have to also configure our plugins because we are using JDK 11. There are a few of the plugins which will be needed some configuration. So I have created this build plugins template now, and let's again press Alt Insert, and here we'll get a plugin template, and it will ask me for. So first of all, we have to do is Maven compiler plugin, which is already showing here. I just click on this, and for the group ID should be plugins, and the version is I will choose 3.8.0. Okay, so this is our first plugin that we have added. Now let's add the plugin for Surefire plugin, because that Surefire Maven plugin is used for our unit tests. So let me add it now. Again, I will use plugin template, and here I will use Maven Surefire plugin. Okay, and again it would be all dot this plugins, and I will use a version of which has worked well before for me. Now here it's important because we are using JDK 11, we might get a lot of like third-party illegal access. There are some warnings because all these plugins, they heavily use reflections for the third-party libraries. These are all third-party libraries which we are using, and it may cause some problem with JDK 11 because there has been a lot of security updates which has been done with JDK 11. So to avoid all this, so we can just add a configuration here, which I will show you now. I will add configuration, and in the configuration, I will add arg line. Okay, in the arg line, better to put like this. I will put illegal access is equal to permit. So this is the only extra configuration that we need to allow all those third-party reflective access to our JDK, which will allow us to don't have any warnings or any errors while we run the test cases. This is optional. I mean, you can try without doing it, but if you face any issue while running your test cases, then you can add this part here. Okay, so this is for the Surefire plugin. Now let's add another plugin for that is fail-safe plugin for integration tests. So I just copied exactly the same plugin that we have done for Surefire plugin. I copied the same here for fail-safe plugin. But before that, I will also like to have an execution goal. For that, I can just type executions and execution again. And here in the goal, I can put it as goals and goal can be put as integration test, and similarly I will put as verify. So this is done for our fail-safe plugin, which is used for integration tests. And finally, we will create one more last plugin for Maven site plugin. So we are done here till here, and then let me add it for Maven site plugin. So I just added Maven site plugin. This is used for generating the site if you want. It's an optional. In the last, again, I will just create a Surefire report plugin. And for that, it actually goes outside in the reporting. This is again an optional plugin if you want it. If you just don't want it, then you can just skip this part. And then I will use plugin, and here I will add it for Maven Surefire report plugin. So that's it, guys. We are having this last plugins, and this ends up our configuration for pom.xml. Let's check all this again once more. So we have created the source encodings as UTF-8 and output encoding. We are using JDK 11 version, and this is what we have done for Maven compiler as well for source and target. And then we defined our JUnit and Mockito versions, which are working well. And this is what we are going to use. If you want to upgrade it to the upper version, we can do that as well. It's your choice. But I would be using in this course, I would be using these versions. And then we simply inserted all those dependencies for JUnit, Jupyter, AssertJ, Hamcrest, Mockito, and then we configured the plugins for compiler plugin and the Surefire for unit tests, failsafe for integration tests, and the optional plugins for site and reporting site, Surefire report plugin. Let me press refresh here so that we are all set up with our Maven dependencies now. Now to ensure that our pom.xml is good, what we can do is that we can look at this right gutter here. We can see the Maven here. Then you can just click on lifecycle and then click on verify. If you click on verify, if all is good, then it means that our project is all set up. Let's wait. It's coming. Yeah, so we can see the build is success now, and all our plugins are well done. So guys, we are done now with our basic project setup, our basic Maven project setup. So in the next video, we'll start with our first introduction of serialization, where we'll write some code and also write some unit test cases that how it works to further enhance our concept understanding and concepts. So see you all in the next video.